Okay, I'm going to give it a few more minutes here, guys. See if anybody kind of straggles in here. Um, I know there's a couple other people that might be joining us up on a couple of the other different versions, either YouTube or Ustream or something of that nature. So let me give it a few more minutes here. Okay, how's this now? Is this a little bit better on the voice? I'm hoping this is a little bit better there. Let me, I think I might be clipping too a little bit. Try that. How's this now? Okay, thanks. All right, so how did everybody like the music? Was the music pretty good or? Um, okay, all right. So the last music that I played a while back was a little bit on the sleepy side, so I do apologize about that. This time around, I actually got a little bit better music there. Um, you know, I did pay for it, so hopefully it sounded a lot better. And so tonight, don't if I'm looking over to my right or over to my left, um, you know, don't worry, I'm paying attention to chat windows as well. Unfortunately, my Restream chat window decided to not work tonight, so I got to contact them and discuss that with them and find out what's going on there. It might be something, on my side. uh, anyway, welcome to the first virtual meeting that we're going to have. I'm hoping that this works out. I'm hoping that this fits everybody's schedule to see what you guys like and everything. Don't be afraid to type a question in, because if I see it, I'll definitely answer it as much as possible. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll put it out there for everybody and then wait and see, whether or not everybody responds back with an answer or something of that nature. Eventually, what I would like to try to do is get it so that all three chat programs are actually joined into one. Right now, I'm streaming to basically Facebook, YouTube, and to our website as well. I'll show you that here in just a second. Anyways, I hope my audio is not clipping. Looks like it's doing pretty good according to my levels on my screen, so I think we're doing fairly decent there. I'm expecting a couple other people to join in. Yeah, Joanne. Yeah, the background. Yeah, I wish it was the place that we were going. Unfortunately, that place is probably getting snow at this point in time. But yeah, it would definitely be nice. I wanted something to block out the rest of my room here. It's kind of a mess in this room right now. So I got a decent background. I wanted I was gonna go with a green screen, but at the time I wasn't. I didn't really have a good video card and processor and RAM that would actually do a good green screen, called chroma keying. And so what I ended up doing was I just went with a background that had a decoration on it. It looks fine. I mean, obviously on this side over here, I get a little bit of a crinkle. I got a, it's all still a work in progress. And I hope that this is, I think this is fun. I don't know about you. I mean, you have any, we might just go with YouTube. We were trying to get YouTube to actually go to our website and actually just display on our website. But I also wanted to capture everybody that's on Facebook as well. And so eventually what we might end up doing is we might move all these meetings over to just our website and go off of there. That way everybody's joined up in the same chat window and can see each other. But right now I want to do it all three platforms just to see how this works, test this out, see whether or not these virtual meetings actually work out or not. I would, this is a test. We'll see what happens here. I like it. I think it's kind of an interesting way of, using technology. We're ham radio operators. We use technology to communicate with each other. A lot of people say, well, we can have we could probably do get on a repeater and do a net or something like that. But quite honestly, if you tune up any one of the repeaters around this valley, you're going to hear hundreds of nets throughout the week. So rather than do a net, let's do something different. Let's connect everybody up. This also allows anybody who's traveling or overseas or something like that to actually join in. Maybe perhaps we might end up getting some people from other countries or from the military or something of that nature to join in as well. One way to connect with our members. So I hope everything's good. Thank you for joining tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it off here. I'm going to go switch over to, we're going to start off with showing obviously our website. We've got, don't forget to come in here and actually try to either log in or create an account. you know, I've already got my whole entire setup here, so it's just going to come over here to you know, my normal page, our sign in page. But let me go back to our if any of you are curious about what it looks like on our website, I'm not gonna. I think I've got audio turned up here. Let me turn this down just in case. Anyways, if you are ever wanting to do it off of our website, you can always come in here to the WM7RC Live. Chad, if you're on, I don't know if you're on right now or not. Yep, Virgil found us on on YouTube as well. Yeah, all you have to do is search for Mesa Amateur Radio Club on YouTube, and we're there. That's one of the things that I kind of want to iron out and everything. See which you know, see what platform is the best for you guys. You know, feedback. That's what I want. So if you have any suggestions, recommendations, I kind of look like a little tweaker or something right now, moving back and forth. So I do apologize about that. Anyways, getting back over here, if you come over to our website and you click on the WM7RC Live, it's going to actually take you over to the Ustream. The only reason why I'm not really too thrilled about the Ustream is just because there's ads that play in there every once in a while. I know YouTube has a little bit of an issue with that as well, but you know, it is what it is. Everything that we're running pretty much, there's a few things that I've actually purchased my own self, the music, the bandwidth and everything of that nature. That's all on me. But the rest of this, like YouTube, obviously is a free platform for us to utilize. Ustream is a free platform. Facebook is a free platform as well. Okay, all right, so it looks like everybody's moving over to YouTube, which is actually pretty good, because what I'll do now is I'll just pull my YouTube up over here on my other side over here, and I'll just join you guys over there. And let me do that really quick. Hold on one second here while I swap over. And see here. I go to my channel and it should be there. Oh well, Mesa Amateur. And let's see here. It's not showing up over here. I'll have to dig around for it. Anyways, what I'll do is I'll just kind of keep an eye over here on the side over here. Oh, I know why. Let me switch accounts really quick. That's the reason why. And okay, so what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to go right ahead and continue on here. So obviously tonight's main function tonight is to talk about Winter Field Day, as well as talk about logging software. Let's see here. So we got our where we're going to be camping at this coming weekend, starting at about Friday at noon. And you don't have to show up right at noon. So if you're not able to get up there until a little bit later on in the evening, feel free. All right, I'm not gonna pressure you into, you know, definitely joining us at, like, you know, noon dead on, or the gate's gonna close or anything like that. Basically, the best way to get there, it's all going to depend on exactly where you live at in the valley, but the easiest way is to take the 60 all the way over towards Globe, and then head up over towards Lake Roosevelt. If you squeeze in here, you know, you're going to make a turn here, and you're going to come down this road, you're going to make a right, another right, and then you're going to come all the way back, and then you're going to make a left. Chances are, hopefully we'll have Dennis's blue mast out there. I think Chad is planning on bringing his. Let's see here. I don't have a mast, but I'll have my one or two of my antennas out there. We'll have a couple generators. So if any of you are wanting to join us, feel free. The more the merrier. Um, we'd love to have quite a few people. Uh, I'm expecting probably 10 to 20 people at the max. So we might have to share campgrounds, but we'll see what happens. And yes, I did verify that they are actually going to be open unless, for some strange reason the government decides to try to shut themselves down again. In which case I'll swap over. I'll try to find an alternative location just in case. We might have to fall back to Oak Flats, which is a free campground. Um, but we'll see. I really doubt that that's going to actually happen. So let me pull up the actual map of the Grapevine Group site here. Oh, and I did forget one website. Oh well. I'll pull it up here in just a second. This way is north. To the left here is north. We're back here at the Cormorant Loop site. So, here's State Route 188, and then you just come back. Keep on going. There are showers there. So if if you feel like, oh, I don't want to go because there's no showers or, running water or anything like that. There is running water, there are toilets, and there are showers out there. And basically just come on in, and we'll set you up. We'll get you situated wherever, whichever little site that you can that's open, and we'll get you in there. This is pretty much what the site looks like out there. We got the 3 pavilions, which is nice. We're going to have a campfire. I've got some wood that I'm going to bring with us. Obviously, this is the bathroom. Here's the loop and everything. I'm thinking that probably what we'll do is we'll probably fit either... we'll put Dennis over here because he fixed his mast so that it now requires his vehicle to hold down the base of it. So we'll probably put Dennis in one of these 2 parking spaces over here, and we'll set it up so that one antenna goes kind of a northeast to southwest, and we'll probably put a one of the in-fed antennas 90 degrees to that, off into the direction, off into the northwest corner there. Then when Chad and them all join up, when Chad comes out, we'll probably put his antenna way over here, and we'll probably run it at a east-west direction with one, and one running a basically north-south as much as possible. But we'll have to take a look on site. I haven't really been to this site, so I don't know, precisely what the setup is. This looks like it's a little bit of a wash. I don't know whether or not this is like a cliff or it's just kind of a small little drop off. So we'll take a look at it when we get out there. Semper Gumby. I think that's going to be our slogan from now on, is Semper Gumby. For those of you who don't know what Semper Gumby means, it's you're going to laugh at this, but it means always flexible. So, which I think kind of fits us. Anyways, let's see here. Winter Field Day. Let's pull up. I'm going to pull up the website for Winter Field Day. I'm going to go to, let's see here. I'm going to take my picture off of there for a second here. Okay, so here's the Winter Field Day website. Any of you are, my recommendation is everybody actually go to this website and actually check it out. It's got all the, well, obviously the rules and all that other stuff. One thing to note: FT8 is not a Winter Field Day mode. Sorry, Frank. I know that you love FT8, and you dream of FT8, working FT8 all the time. So sorry, you're not going to be able to run FT8 this time. However, PSK, Slow Scan TV, RTTY, Olivia, and even a satellite contact. We don't have a satellite antenna to really try to do anything. Unless one of you actually has like an arrow antenna or something like that. I'm not all that good with satellite yet. Just started to get into it because I want to kind of introduce it to the club, anyways. Um, so if any of you are actually planning on joining us over the weekend and want to bring out their satellite gear and kind of do a little bit of maybe a training session or something like that, introduce it to us, we would love it. Um, we'll definitely welcome it. But I want to try to do at least one or two slow scan TV contacts. Not too sure if Chad or Frank is going to be able to get all the programs all set up on their computer. Um, However, I would like to try to at least do a couple. You know, when we try to go out and do these things, we try to do different modes and try to do new stuff as well. So, you know, if we can do a couple slow scan TV contacts, I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be kind of fun to do, especially as a group effort. You know, everybody gather around and kind of go through the whole entire process of how to, you know, get the software all set up and, you know, what it takes. I think it'd be kind of fun to do. Obviously, we're going to do, you know, a single sideband as well as PSK 31. If Frank, I don't know if we can try to do maybe a couple Olivia contacts as well. Um, I know that we've got quite a few things all planned for this whole entire trip, but I think it'd be kind of fun to do a couple of these other different modes as well, just to, you know, kind of introduce anybody who's new to them, or at least try them out and get it under our belt. Um, You have any 5/8 antenna and a satellite with any elevation of less than 30 degrees will work with 25 watts. Definitely agree. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, so we might drag our VHF radio out there with my battery and give it a try. I've got the antenna, the big old mag loop up, or the magnet antenna up on my car. Um, let's see here. Okay, Frank, definitely agree. I got your message there. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun to try to do other modes as well, other than PSK 31. Um, you know, quite honestly, I was really wishing that FT8 was actually a proper mode this time around. And I understand exactly why they're doing it, why they're saying FT8 is not a WFD mode. I get it. I understand. And I'm not going to complain. It's not my contest to run or anything of that nature. But you know, FT8 does actually kind of put a little bit of a damper on a couple other things. It'd be kind of fun to do a little bit of RTTY as well, but I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear and see what happens. Um, so basically, all amateur bands, with the exception of 12, 17, 30, and 60, for obvious reasons. Winter Field Day is exactly, well, not exactly, pretty darn close to the same as regular field day. Um, it's The biggest difference is the fact that is the categories itself. Um, so it starts at noon on Saturday, so we have plenty of time to do anything on Saturday morning as well as Friday afternoon. I know Frank's been trying to get at least you know, 10 FT8 contacts a day for the grid chase and everything, and kudos to him for doing that. Um, so we'll probably have to let him play with it a little bit on both Friday and Saturday to make his contacts, maybe even possibly Sunday if he's going to still be there. Um, but station setup may consume no more than 12 hours total. So technically, it says we're not allowed to actually set up anything prior to. Well, it says yeah, noon on Friday, but I don't know. We might push that a little bit later on in the afternoon, maybe like 2 or 3 or something like that. Get everything else set up. Um, so we'll come down here. We'll do the entry categories here really quick and entry class. Entry categories. Most of you can actually read this. Basically, for indoors, it's basically operating from an indoor, insulated, heated, or cooled, depending on your local weather condition. Um, Basically, indoor would be like an RV. For some strange reason, they consider an RV. I guess it's because it's insulated, and that's the key word right there is insulated. And so an RV typically has a little bit of insulation in it, so they consider an RV an indoor actual structure. So, but the key word here is well, the other key word is remote. So it could be a shack out in the middle of nowhere. It could be a cabin that you rent for the weekend. Maybe even a fishing shack. I mean, if you were doing ice fishing or something like that, you can. I would probably say that would count as an indoor station. Outdoor is a location that's partially or fully exposed to the elements and at least 30 feet away from your normal station location. So technically speaking, my backyard is not a good example of it, but if I had a large enough backyard, I could literally take my tent, set it up at the very back end of my lot, and operate from there and be considered to be outdoors. Um, we're going to be at a campground, basically a park. Most of us are going to be probably camping in tents or vehicles or something like that, but we're not going to be operating from those. We're going to be operating from either of the pavilions or maybe our easy ups or something like that. Um, and then obviously there's home. So that one I don't think I have to really describe. Um, and then your class is the number designated by the number of stations in your entry that are capable of simultaneous transmission. So if we have 4 transmitters out there and they're capable of simultaneous transmission where we're not linked up to the same antenna, taking turns at using the antenna to transmit and receive, transmit and receive, that type of a description would actually be one actual rig. But if it was 2 different antennas, 2 different rigs, obviously that's a class of 2. So in our case, our exchange is going to be like a 3 alpha, or excuse me, now I'm thinking like field day now, a 3 Oscar or a 4 Oscar. So it's basically call sign is Whiskey Mike 7 Romeo Charlie, 4 Oscar, and then it's our ARRL section, just like field day. So Alpha Zulu for Arizona. Um, so for points, we get 1 point for a phone contact, 2 for CW or digital. See here, busted exchanges are going to be penalized by 1 additional point for each missed exchange or call sign, and that's going to be a difficult one. So duplicate contacts will not be counted but will not be penalized. So my recommendation is when we do get out there, you work everybody. Maritime Mobile is not listed in here, so I would probably say it's probably going to be an um, indoor operation. That's what I'm going to speculate. Um, there was a big discussion about this on 100 Watts and a Wire podcast, or not podcast, but the Facebook group this past week about what is the definition of maritime mobile. And there is no specific definition for maritime mobile. Some were saying, well, you have to be 12 miles offshore. some were saying, well, anytime you're operating on like one of the Great Lakes or something like that, it should count. Somebody said, well, within 3 miles. I'm not going to go into that tonight, but thanks about that. Let's see here. Um, okay, so let's go down to count one multiplier for each mode operated per band. So if we're operating, um, let's see here, each mode operated. So if we're doing a digital mode and let's see here, FM, PSK31, CW, phone, on quite a few of these, you can kind of figure it out. Most of the software already kind of figures that out for us, which is the nice thing about it. But if we need to, we'll come back here and take a look at it and figure out what we need to do. I'm not going to worry about the band multipliers until after the actual event, and then we'll go in there and double check and make sure all the numbers are correct. Power output, okay. There's quite a few 1500 bonus points that we're going to possibly get. 1500 bonus points if no commercial power is used. Guess what? That one's going to be a score for us. We're definitely going to get that one. 1500 bonus points if our operation is outdoors. Okay, that one's a gimme for us. And if we're not a home operation, it looks like we're going to get another 1500 bonus points for that too. Now, the one that is kind of a little sad on this is, unless we have somebody who can do a satellite contact, we're going to be missing out on 1500 points. But unless we have somebody who's really good at working satellite contacts, and I think I've done one in my entire, since 2008, so 10 years. And I haven't, obviously I'm not an expert at it, so let me just put it that way. So we'll go through here and we'll take a look at all the bonus points and everything afterwards. I'll go right ahead and print out a copy of this as well and bring it with us so we can sit down and discuss it after the event is done and over with. Log submission and everything, we'll definitely submit our logs. I find it very, how should I put it, honorable for us as a club. No matter what contest we do, we should always go right ahead and submit our logs. Even if we're not actually trying to compete and be the top dog of the whole entire contest, it's one of those things where, the other person might need that specific contact. Let's take the chase, the grid chase, for example. We're going to be at, I think it's Delta Mike 43 is going to be our grid. It's so popular that people have probably already gotten that grid and everything. However, there might be somebody out there who might need our grid. And as long as we submit to Logbook of the World, it takes care of all that on the back end. It's not like we have to submit our log, separately or anything like that. So, let's see here. Is there any other? Yeah, Virgil, I'm thinking that the reason why they're banning the FT8, and I don't know this for a fact, so this is my own opinion, and I think it's because it's too quick, and it's a digital mode, so you're getting a quick contact there. So, you might be able to get 200 contacts. I don't know if I'm miscalculating here or anything of that nature. You guys are the experts at it. I've never operated FT8, so it's definitely going to be something new for me to actually take a look at and play around with. But if you can make 200 contacts in an hour, I mean, you're already looking at 400 bonus points. But I get it. I don't understand why. And I mean, again, it's not my contest, so I don't know what to say. If it was my contest, I'd be like, yep, any mode, any band, with the exception of the work bands for obvious reasons. There you go. The rules are actually pretty simple. They're not very difficult. You can always look these up prior to the Winter Field Day event. Um, I think this is going to be a fun event. We actually have been discussing a couple other little training seminars that we're going to be doing while we are out there. So it's not going to be just operating radio. We're going to try to, every single one of our little camping trips or field trips or whatever you want to call them, we're going to try to do at least one classroom type activity while we're out there. Some sort of educational thing. And this is where I encourage everybody, every single member of our club. If there is something that you would like to teach us, feel free. Stand up and say, hey, listen, I want to, I really want to do, I really want to teach satellite operations, okay, since we're on the satellite topic tonight. Um, let's, if you're really good at doing the satellites or you've never done it and you want to teach it to kind of hone your skills, please step up to the plate. Let's do it. Just feel free to volunteer. Don't be too shy. That's the one thing that I've always. Obviously, I have no problem doing public speaking. Don't know where I got it because I'm kind of a shy person. You get me out in a crowd or something of that nature, and usually I don't talk all that much. I kind of hang out over, my little corner and things of that nature. So I don't know why in the world a shy guy like me, can do public speaking. But I think what it is because I like to learn. And so as I learn, I'm able to actually I'm able to actually present that to you guys and do a little bit of a teaching scenario. I did a lot of teaching when I was in the military. There was a lot of little things that I taught. Most of it was my own initiative. I went out there and actually said, you know what, I want to do this. I want to learn this. I'm going to do this until I can do it pretty darn good. And then what I want to do is I want to approach my chief or my first class petty officer and say, hey, listen, I would like to teach this. Is there a time that we can do this? And the units that I was at, they were always encouraging us to do something of that nature and loved it. Sharing knowledge is what our whole entire civilization is about, our society. So if you've got something that you really want to try to teach, feel free. Send me an email or send me a text message or something like that and say, hey, listen, I would like to teach the club something on this specific day. On these nights right here, if you want to be a guest speaker on here, what I'll do is I'll get it all set up so that we can do the Zoom and or if you really want to come over to my house and do it from my house, that's fine with me too. But we'll get it set up so that we can do a meeting, and then I'll just turn the whole entire presentation over to you guys. But I think a lot of this is actually quite fun. So, anyways, back to Winter Field Day. So the plan is Friday we're going to kind of get the equipment all set up. We'll try to get some of the antennas set up, the radios set up, obviously the tents and sleeping arrangements. Sometime in there, people are probably going to get hungry and want lunch or something of that nature, and feel free to have lunch or snacks whenever you want to. We're going to build an antenna launcher using PVC pipe. While out there, we're going to actually do a video on it, something that we can put up on our YouTube channel and use, in later presentations, or you guys can actually, we'll open it up to public viewing and you can go in there and take a look at it at any time you want. But we're actually going to do a little bit of hands-on, get the tape measure out, little markers, and, cut up the PVC pipe and get all the equipment together, and we're going to build one. We're going to put it up on do a video of it, and then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a toroid. I think Frank ordered all the parts for it. We're going to do I think what is it? Is it a 4-to-1 or a 9-to-1 Balin? Or yeah, I don't think it's an Unen. I think it's a Balin that we're gonna do. Frank might be able to comment on that. Anyways, we're gonna do a video on that as well. We're gonna take the time and actually record all of it and upload it up to my laptop and get it up and running. And we'll post that video up on our YouTube as well. That way, later on down the road, if you want to take a look at the video, you're more than welcome to do so. That's one of the things that we're trying to do with this whole entire not only just the virtual meetings, but we're also trying to get a little bit of educational videos. Going back to what I was saying, if you want to record a video and you would like to either get it posted up to YouTube or Facebook, you know, feel free. Let me know, and we'll make it happen for you. You know, we'll definitely work with it. So, are there any? Okay, yeah. So Frank does say it is a 9-to-1 Unen is what it is. So we'll be going through the instructions on how to do that, posting all the instructions, doing the video and everything. So thank you, Frank, for taking that little project on. We'll get that all worked up there as well. We are going to do Facebook live streams while we're out there. Yes, it is going to take up a little bit of some of our phone bandwidth. Whatever. We only live once, right? Anyways, we are going to do a Facebook Live, so any of you who are not able to make it, you will definitely be able to at least watch a couple Facebook Live videos or something like that. Feel free to take a peek at the YouTube videos as we put them up. We'll announce that. And if there's any other little training things that we can do, obviously, you know, I mentioned Olivia and RTTY, and maybe Slow Scan TV. We'll take the time to do a little bit of training with everybody on that, because I've never done Slow Scan TV. The one thing that I did with Slow Scan TV was download the pictures from the ISS. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Frank, for pointing that out. See here. Non-lead based weights should be environmentally conscious club. You know what? I agree. And I'll definitely look around and see what I can find. And we'll definitely take a look at that. And I agree there, Vinny. We should be an environmentally conscious club. You know, we need to take the leadership and the the proactiveness and actually do that. So thank you for mentioning that. We'll definitely take a look and see if we can do that. You know, maybe steel ball bearings or something like that. Obviously, this trip we're not going to be able to use the antenna launcher because, well, there's not really that many trees out there to begin with. So I have a feeling that we're not going to be able to launch any. You know, we might be able to launch one or two just to test it out and make sure that it actually does launch. But its primary purpose is going to be for our other campouts when we go up to like Timber Camp or you know, Moki Group Campground, or possibly the new location for Field Day. We're thinking we're going to go off-grid for that. We're still in discussion about where we want to go and how. We've got a couple good ideas. Just want to roll that out to you. If you have any comments or suggestions, you know, feel free to post it up there. Let us know. You know, Virgil, I've done tent stakes as well. However, Frank has actually gotten pretty good at launching those the antenna fishing weights that we've been launching. We've gotten our antennas up, I want to say, like a good 80 feet up, and sometimes tent stakes end up getting you know, stuck in a tree or something like that. So I kind of want to push back on that a little bit. You know, tent stakes are not too bad, especially if you don't need a antenna way up high or anything like that. Chad did try to use a drone at one point. It worked to a certain degree. The line did go over. It just, the drone also kind of took a little bit of a tumble, and that was kind of that was fun. That was enjoyable to watch. You know, we all make mistakes. We all learn from them. So now we know, okay, don't use a drone in that fashion. We got to figure something else out. And one of these days, maybe we'll be able to use a drone to tie a line up and toss it over or something. Um, let's see here. Okay, so there's no other questions. Um, oh wow, that's 40 feet. That's pretty good there, Virgil. That's impressive. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do 40 feet with a tent stake. I might be able to with some good practicing or something. So that would be fun, actually. All right, so now we're gonna go. Let's see here. I'll do a transition over to this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some logging software. Some of the forums that I've been reading up on, one of the biggest questions that uh, a lot of people have is what is the best logging software out there? And I have never found one particular piece of software that I've actually enjoyed and said this is the software that I want to use 100% of for the rest of my life or anything like that. They all have ups and downs. They all have little quirks and stuff of that nature. Um, let's see here. So the first one that I want to talk about. Well, first off, um, let me mention that there are no requirements to log any of your contacts at all. Let me grab a drink here. Hold on one second. All right. There is no legal requirements for you to log at all. If you just want to make a contact and move on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and not log them, you're more than welcome to do so. Don't feel kind of left out or anything like that. There's going to be people who are probably a little grouchy on that. The fact that they didn't quote unquote officially, get a contact out of contacting you, but each to each their own. Some enjoy logging, some don't. Some try to, update their logs every, 5 minutes to Logbook of the World, so on and so forth. So, but the FCC clearly, well, there's no actual rule in any of the FCC Part 97 that says that you have to log it. So the question is why log at all? Well, the main reason why you want to log these days is for awards. Worked all stations, DXCC, that's the Century Club. Worked 100, what is it, 100 countries or something like that. There's multiple different awards, and that you can get from either the ARRL or CQ magazine. There's probably others that I'm forgetting to even figure out exactly where to go to find them and stuff of that nature. So the next reason is for contests. Just like Winterfield Day. Winterfield Day, I don't really consider it a contest, but yet there's a points, value, reward system out there that actually makes it into kind of a contest. But there's other contests out there. There's the Arizona QSO Party. Um, the Arizona QSO Party is one of our favorite ones to do. It's a local QSO party, and usually we end up being the bonus station. So people contacting us are kind of encouraged to do so for the extra 100 bonus points. Can't complain about that either. Um, and then there's, of course, QSL cards. And let me look around. I don't know if I actually have our QSL cards. I think I've got it put up in either already out in my car or out in my camping gear, I think. Anyways, we do have QSL cards for this winter field day. We've got 100 of them. Basically what I was going to do is each person who comes and shows up is definitely going to get a QSO card. Just for basically being there, I want you to kind of actually have something to take home with you and kind of remember, oh yeah, this is what we did. But QSL cards, I love getting a piece of mail. It doesn't matter if it's a postcard or a letter. Well, other than bills. All right, so don't send me your bills, please. Um, but I like getting a QSL card. I won't say no. I like QSL cards. So what we're going to be doing is each one of the contacts, all the way up to 95 or whatever it is, um, we'll figure out exactly who's going to get the QSL cards and who's not going to get the QSL cards. Um, but what we'll do is we'll do a get together or something, maybe a weekend after or something, or maybe I'll even just sit down and actually just go through and write the QSL cards out and get them mailed out. Um, but QSL cards are fun. They're the little, the little bit of, kind of a little bit of, like a wallpaper, basically. It's showing off that you made a whole bunch of contacts. Okay, there's something to be said about it. Um, and then, the other thing that you have to think about too is the other reason why you want to log is what happens if, say, a neighbor knocks on your door saying that your ham radio station's bleeding over into their TV set or their radio set, um, or that you are coming across to their baby monitors or something of that nature. If you've got detailed logs as to every single contact, every time you've turned your radio on, and every time you've transmitted, what bands, things of that nature, um, not that any court or any jury is even going to be able to tell heads or tails out of whether or not it's a valid log or not. Um, but it's nice being able to sit there and say, oh, really? So it was 6:30 last night. Let me take a look at my log really quick because I don't remember if I was on. I mean that's a bad example, but um, you know, you can take a look at your logbook and say, yeah, I wasn't on last night. Not at 6:30 at night. So there's something else that's going on. Um, you know, Now you have some sort of little bit of a documentation that you can actually show them, saying, yeah, I look right here. I've been very detailed at every little thing that I've done with my station. There's no way that it was me, or yeah, it could be me. Let's try it and let's see what happens. Hold on one quick second here. All right. So that's the other reason why you want to log. You can actually print these logs out. You'll have them up on your computer. Um, Most of these logging software nowadays has it so that you can actually automatically upload the logs to Logbook of the World, EQSL, QRZ. Let's see here. And yes, Chad, we will be monitoring the VHF simplex call frequency as well as RimLink. I believe, I think we usually try to do 446.050. I'll post all that information up before we actually go out. So thank you, Chad, for posting that as well. See here. Yeah, Vinny, our logs have actually been, both Chad and I have actually been pretty decent at uploading to Logbook of the World, and I want to say QRZ as well as EQSL. Chad, Club Log is the other one. We could possibly do that. I haven't looked into that one. Good. That one's going to be put down on my list. Thank you, Virgil, for. Let's see here. Club Log. I'll definitely have to take a look at that one. Do a little bit of research. Thank you for recommending that. I appreciate that. Um, let's see here. Yeah, we do have a SQL server we could probably upload and everything. That probably wouldn't be too difficult to do. We'll have to sit down and go over it. Um, yeah, there we go. Okay, so, well, QRZ is, okay, 100% updated. We need to send a few to Logbook of the World still. And Logbook of the World, you know, it's got its pains, but once you get over the little initial hump of, sending away for your login information, waiting for that to come back in the mail, and then getting the password and logging in, and then waiting for another thing to come in the mail saying congratulations. Logbook of the World is actually a pretty nice little program. The ARRL has done a really good job of maintaining that and everything. So shout out to the ARRL for that. I know I'm kind of a critic when it comes to some of these little programs and stuff. I'm not a big contester. I'm a rag chewer. If you can't figure that out, hence the reason why I'm doing these things. But contests are fun. I will have to say that I do enjoy like the Arizona QSO party. I do actually enjoy it. I know a couple of the members kind of get a little I don't know if they get irritated at me or not. I shouldn't say irritated, but they kind of have to sometimes, every once in a while, recommend that I remember that I'm not out there to just rag chew. But I love rag chew. I like talking to people. It's kind of strange. Again, a shy person. You get me into a crowd, and I don't really talk with people. But you get me on a radio, and the first couple contacts is a little bit on the rusty side, but once I get in a roll, then it's like, okay, whatever, you talk fishing with me, talk hunting with me, it doesn't matter. Hiking, love it all. So anyways, what kind of software is out there? One of the key things that I looked at when we were doing the software is I was trying to find something that was usable in the field. That was my main criteria for choosing what software that we use, which is the N3FJP, the November 3 Foxtrot Juliet Papa software. It works really well in the field. The N1MM software, November 1 Mike software, is another really good piece of software. It's just its networking settings are a little bit on the finicky side, and it would sometimes, one person goes offline and then all of a sudden it throws everything out of whack. The couple times that we used it, it wasn't bad. It's a great program. I'm not gonna say that it's a horrible program. Don't use it ever again. It's good software. It just didn't work for us. So I'll start with N1MM. This is the one that pretty much most contesters out there actually utilize. They love it, and for a good reason. I mean, look at this interface here. It's very simplistic. It doesn't really have too much to it. It's not really all that fancy. It doesn't have a lot of little fancy gizmos and gadgets and things of that nature. You have a couple choices. You can do either run or S&P, and I can't remember what the difference is. Somebody might be able to. Yes, Joanne, N1MM software is the one that we used. Not this last one, but the one before that. And I'll get to the one that we used. The N3FJP is the one that we used last field day, and it worked wonderful. We did it in the Arizona QSO party. Worked wonderful. The software is just so easy to set up. It's really nice software. I really like it. Would I use it at home? Yeah, I don't know. It depends. There's a couple others out there that is pretty darn cool. All right. So obviously, somebody who's very familiar with ClubLog, Virgil out there, definitely appreciate it. Showing that it's got some pretty cool tracking features. I haven't looked at it, so I can't say one way or the other. However, if I know Virgil. Virgil's a really great guy. So if he's used ClubLog before and he has a good understanding of it, it's I would definitely say it's a pretty good. Yeah. See, Virgil likes N3FJP software as well. It's just I don't know what it is about that software, but it's really nice and comforting. It just works. N1MM, I'm not gonna bash. I'm gonna say it's actually really nice. Because if you look at this interface right here, I mean, it is very simple. You know, you put in the call sign. Um, you know, the person's name comes up. You know, the state, or whatever you want this window to look like, it'll pull up. It's a very nice. It doesn't clutter up. That's the one thing that I liked about it. Its networking side was a little on the weird side. Um, but for a contest, during a contest, what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to hurry up and get them in the logs, and N1MM does that. You know, just a few little fields, boom, hit enter, you're on to the next customer. So it does a good job. So if you want to come here, just look for N1MM. You can download it and play with it. It's free. This tool is free, 100% free. You don't have to buy it. If you want to donate, I believe that you can donate. But they've got all sorts of different things. They've got how-to videos. They do have a good support group, which I've used in the past. Hold on one second here. I've used this quite a few times, and I've actually liked it. I mean, it's decent software. They do have really good documentation. You know, getting started, digging deeper. Um, they do a good job of keeping it up to date. I think every week they're putting out an update to it. So this is one that, if you're needing a piece of free software, free logging software that you can utilize pretty much right out of the box. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but quite honestly, if you read the documents and watch the videos, you'll do good. Um, and yes, Virgil, actually, N3FJP can be networked and does run off of a USB stick. I don't know if the program does. However, when we do our logging, we send all of our logs to actually a thumb drive attached to one of Frank's routers, and it basically, everybody logs into the router. You don't have to do it off of another person's computer or laptop or anything like that. You basically connect to the network. You point over to the specific file, and away it goes. It's a great piece of software. So this is the software right here that I'm talking about. This is pretty much what the window looks like. Obviously, it looks a little different than the N1MM software, so it's a little bit on the busier side. But all these windows you can customize. You can change. If you want to move the mode over ahead of the band, you can do so. Let's see here really quick. Where is my... Here we go. Winter Field Day. They've actually got a Winter Field Day contest log, and let's see if it'll actually open up for me. I was having a little bit of problems with it earlier. Yeah, here it goes. But here it is. You know, when it first comes up, you got your little setup screen. You come in here and you put in your call sign, your country, your continent. You put in your latitude, longitude. I believe it fills in these two zones, but you can easily look these zones up. Obviously, for what's required for Winter Field Day is right here. I've got us at 3 Oscar right now. That might actually change. I mean, when we get out into the field and start doing it, we'll modify all this information. So ARRL section, if you want, you can put in, you know, KE7VLC, and, you know, I always do my initials here, and then hit done, and now it's ready to go. So if I put in, you know, N1LQJ category, I'll just put 1 India, and I'll put actually North Texas. right there alone, look, saying it's a new section for us, which, you know, obviously we got nobody in the log just yet, but all the sections are right over here. So if you get confused as to what it is, you can always come over here. NTX is North Texas, STX is South Texas, WTX is West Texas. And, you know, if you hover your mouse right over it, it'll tell you exactly what it is. You know, Louisiana, South Florida, let's see here, East Massachusetts. DX is for anything outside of the country. It does have even Canada even listed in here. So now, once I've got you know, Vinny logged in here, I'll just go right ahead and log it in. So here's what it pulls up. You know, call sign category tells me what time, what band I'm on. If you've got this actually linked to your rig, it'll automatically know exactly what band you're on and what mode you're on. It'll tell you exactly who's logged it. So if everybody goes in and fills out their operator information during, you know, beforehand, you can come in here and find out who's actually worked what. Oh, you know, great. You know, Chad worked, you know, Louisiana, and Frank worked, you know, Alberta or something like that. You know, you can kind of come in here and go, oh, wow, okay. So it looks like Frank's getting a whole bunch of you know, Canadians right now. He's really hot into Alberta and Ontario area or something like that, or Alberta. Actually, it would be Alberta and British Columbia. You know, now we know exactly his antenna is really singing off towards the northwest. You know, so he might be able to pick up, you know, Washington, Wyoming, maybe Oregon, maybe even Alaska or something like that. You can kind of tell exactly what kind of a pattern you've got going on. If you look over here, okay, it'll tell you how many CW contacts, phone contacts, digital contacts. It'll tell you exactly what kind of multipliers. I think the multiplier is a little bit off, only because I think this was a CW, so technically I think the multiplier should be a 2, but you know, like I said, afterwards we'll go through all the points and everything, and you know, when you upload the logs to the winter field day, they'll take care of all the scoring as well. Total score is 2. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so total score is 2 because it's 1 contact and 1 multiplier for a total of 2 score there. And then, I mean, if we were to fill out a couple more here, let's see here. Let's see here. What is, I don't know if that's going to be a proper 3H, and we'll do, so here it is. Okay, these are the QSOs per hour in the last 20 minutes. So it's saying, okay, if we keep operating at the way we're operating right now, we're going to get at least in 20 minutes, we should be getting 6 QSOs an hour. All right. If we were to put in a couple more, this is going to definitely change. And then it says, you know, okay, in the last full hour, we've logged 2 contacts. So as of right now, we've got 2 contacts. Just based upon that metric right there, we will be getting basically 2 contacts an hour. If you notice over here, it starts filling in. Let's see here. Let's go down here and change bands. We'll do digital N1 LQJ, and obviously it fills it in because it knows that we've already contacted an N1 LQJ. So it automatically filled in our category and our section, which is really handy out in the field. We're going to hit OK there. So now we've got 1 digital contact, 2 CW contacts. You know, we're doing fairly decent there. You know, obviously Orion needs to do a little bit more. He needs to make more contacts and stop rag chewing. See here. Let's see here. Yes, we will be using generator out there. We've got, we'll have at least 2 generators. Let's see here. Okay. You know, I don't know. Yeah, Franco will have to answer that one there. But an 8-hour runtime and then an oil change. Wow, that's actually pretty good. So we'll see how that. Um, yeah, we'll have to try that out. Thanks for bringing that up, Frank. Definitely appreciate that. Anyway, this is the winter field day. It's really nice. We can actually come in here and we can actually set our station's name, what the main server or IP address is, and we can actually pass messages back and forth. Um, network share. Um, we've kind of played around with this. The only nice thing about this specific chart is if we have multiple operators, say Frank, Chad, myself, Dennis, and Virgil out there, we can actually see exactly what bands and what modes each one of us are on. That helps if, like, all of a sudden it's like 20 meters dies and you're sitting there going, oh, I want to switch over to 40. And I want to do, single sideband on 40. You take a look at it and go, oh shoot, Virgil's already doing phone on 40, so I guess I'm going to have to, maybe drop down to 80 and see if I can pick up anybody. 80 is kind of a finicky band, anyways, but or maybe I could try 17 or even go up to 10 meters. It's really nice. I really like it, as long as everybody's keeping on top of what band and digital, and what mode they're doing, or if it's automated because they've connected it to their rig. Modern rigs actually work really well with this type of software. The little Kenwood TS440S, as much as I love that thing, it doesn't connect up to the software. So it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, I just got to be paying attention to what I'm doing. If we do a shift change, we can come in here and put in the different operator and the different initials, and then it'll automatically, anytime you log from that computer, it'll automatically log exactly who's who. Yeah, we can bring up statistics. We can see exactly what we're doing. It's actually pretty nice to be able to look at some of these. I haven't really gone through a lot of these statistics to kind of, figure out our run rate and stuff of that nature. I'm not one to do so, but here we go. Here's a chart. It tells us exactly, okay, well, here's a whole bunch of CW. Here's the digital contact. Tells us, I mean, we'd have to kind of sit down and actually go through it and figure it out. Yep, and here is a map, which is nice. This kind of helps out when you're sitting there trying to figure out exactly what states. This isn't in all of their software. However, it is in like the field day software. And this is one of the things that what I was trying to do this last summer was get a TV monitor put up with this specific screen right here. If we have any visitors or something, they might, get a kick out of, wow, okay, they've made a really, they've contacted way up there in Canada. They haven't done Newfoundland yet, but they've got Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and you start filling in these states, and it, to an outsider, that might actually encourage them to get their license or look into it. I get a kick out of it. I like to look at that. I'm a visual type guy anyways. Let's see here. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so here's all the country list. And I believe it updates automatically when you first log in or something like that. But, there's a whole bunch of different things in here. The N3 FJP software, the one downfall of it is the fact that, yes, you do have to pay for it. However, my recommendation, and this is just my recommendation, is quite honestly get the full the full software. I think it's like 50. Let me see here. I want to say, yeah, okay. So if you get the software package without the CD, it's $50. Okay, um, and that's for the full package. If you want just specific ones like the 1010 QSO Party Log, you can come in here and download it and register for $8.99. If you want just the ARRL International DX Contest Log, you can come in and download it and pay for the $8.99. Um, the problem is once you start getting into each and every single one of these specific packages, after you've bought them all, if you decide to buy every single one of these, I think you're paying something like close to $100 for it or something like that, or um, it's some weird number. Um, my recommendation is just come in here and buy it. You pay for it once and you're done. For the rest of your life, you get the specific software. Um, see here. Let's see here. Anybody else have? Okay, so you guys are basically chatting back and forth. That's cool. That's cool. That's exactly what tonight's for. I'm quite happy with that. We might just have to stick with YouTube for these things here and see what happens. Um, yeah, anybody who's on our on Facebook, if you're sitting there hanging out or something like that, asking where in the world everybody is, go to YouTube really quick. Look up Mesa Amateur Radio Club, and click on the live video and join us over there, because that's where pretty much everybody's already migrated over there. So, feel free to join us over there. I am monitoring. Well, right now I'm only monitoring our website and YouTube. I think this whole entire YouTube thing is actually going to work out better. So, Chad, we might have to think about that. Anyways, N3FJP, for the value of what you're getting, I highly recommend it. There's quite a few people on here who have already recommended it. Oh, sweet, Joanne. Definitely come on up on Saturday. Definitely. You're more than welcome to come up. If you only want to be there for the day, that's more than we're happy. Okay. Hold on one second. All right. So this last piece of software is one that I've actually played around with. Um, it's not a bad software. It does a lot of good work. I haven't played around with it all that much. It's the Log4OM. There's a lot of people who recommend it, and I can't blame them. It's actually a pretty good piece of software and everything. I believe it is free, or you have to. I can't remember. I know that they have trial software. All these, if you want to download and try them out, you can. Even the N3FJP has a trial version. Let's see here. What else? Let's see here. Okay, so let's talk about. Well, there is also Ham Radio Deluxe. Now, I've never played around with Ham Radio Deluxe. Some of you might have. If you've ever played with it, let us know. I didn't bother bringing it up only because I've never really dinked around with it, and there's probably others out there. Obviously, Club Log is another one. I'm definitely going to have to take a look at that software and play around with it a little bit, see what it is. But my point tonight is don't get caught up in the argument of what is the best software out there, what is the best logging software out there. Try them out. Give it a try. Take it for a test drive. It's like a car. You don't just walk up to the car lot and say, okay, I want that car, jump, and you do the payment and everything, and they hand you the keys and you drive off the lot without actually test driving it. You just don't do that. You basically try it out, see what you think of it. And quite honestly, the one thing that really gets a lot of especially newcomers to the hobby is they want, oh, what is the best software, or what is the best radio out there, or what is the best this, instead of looking at it as what is the best, because each one of us has our own different opinion. I like the FT60R Yaesu radio. Chad might like the Chad likes ICOM radio, so a lot of his arsenal is going to be ICOM. Uh, Frank kind of likes the Yaesu equipment along with me. But there might be somebody who likes Kenwood, or and everybody keeps recommending the Baofeng radios. Oh, get a Baofeng radio. It's cheap and it's great. It works and all this other stuff. And quite honestly, the best way to approach a lot of these things is take every person's recommendation with with a grain of salt. Each person is going to be different. I like hiking. Okay, my first radio, it was an actual handheld radio, and the only reason why I did that was because I knew I was going to be out hiking a lot. So I wanted something very ultralight and portable. So that's what I went with. My recommendation is, unless you're going to be outdoors, unless you're going to be doing a lot of public service events, unless you're going to be hiking around, don't get an HT. Go with a mobile radio. Get a 50-watt radio that has a good user manual, something that's going to be solid, especially for your first radio. Hold off on getting an HT unless you're going to be doing a lot of the things. Virgil does a lot of public service events with the MCECG, like I do, and he knows how valuable an HT is, as well as a mobile rig. Yeah, Chad sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, we're nice to the Yaesu lovers." Yeah. So the thing is when you approach a lot of these forums or something of that nature, don't get caught up in asking the question, what is the best antenna? What is the best radio? What is the best piece of software? All right. My recommendation is approach it like you would anything else. Okay, well, what are the features of the different pieces of software out there, or what are my options? You don't want to buy something like I'll go down the Baofeng radio hate here for just a couple minutes here. I'm not a big fan of the Baofeng radios. Yes, they are cheap. Yes, they get you on the radio, on the air. And if you ever lose it, break it, or something of that nature, it's easy to replace. However, the programming of it gets a little bit on the finicky side and gets a little bit testy and trying and things of that nature, to the point where a lot of new hams end up sitting there saying, you know what, I'm done with this, or hey, can you program this for me, because I have no clue as to what I'm doing. So that's the reason why I recommend getting one of the big name 3 for your first radio. Is because they're tried, they're true, their user interface is usually a little bit nicer, a little bit easier to use, and easier to understand. Hold off on getting the Baofeng radio until you've already got familiar with, especially the lingo. Okay, what is a PL tone? Things of that nature. What is a shift? How much do I have to do the shift? And things of that nature. So, just like a radio, the logging software is the same way. Go with a tried and true method. If you don't like it, you can always try something else. Like I pointed out, the N1MM logger doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It doesn't have anything flashy or anything like that, which is perfect for a contest. You don't want a lot of those bells and whistles. Most contesters don't really care exactly. Oh, look, I got North Texas. Oh, I got Alberta. I've got Illinois. Most of them just keep on working, and they work whoever and whatever. There might be some that go after specific stations or something like that. So Um, let's see here. Um, so I encourage people to approach things with a little bit of a different attitude of instead of going, well, what is the best antenna for me? Take a step back and go, well, what are the options out there? What are different antennas out there? What are the best options? Um, take it that way. So now let's discuss a little bit about online logging locations. And before I go down this path, let me take a look and see. Let's see here. Anybody? Yeah. See. Yeah. Bingo. Right there. Virgil just put it up on the on YouTube right there. Baofeng works as a ham radio, but you get what you pay for. It's a $35 radio. Okay. You're not going to expect a $15,000 Ford Fiesta to outperform a Lamborghini or a Porsche. Okay. If you were to show up at a race or something like that with a Ford Fiesta or one of those smart cars, we'll take a smart car because that's how I look at the Baofeng radio as the smart car of the ham radio world there. Um, if you show up to a racetrack in a smart car, people are going to laugh at you. All right. And nothing wrong with smart cars. All right. They're economical. However, you got to kind of take a look at that. Now, would I be running a Lamborghini to work every single day? Yeah, it would be nice to own one and have it sitting in my garage. I don't think that I would take it out in the sun every single day and drive it every single day. I'd be so worried about getting dings and dents and rock chips in it that it wouldn't be fun to drive. Let me just put it that way. But the Baofeng does work. And for the purpose of getting you on the air, yeah, it's perfect. Or not perfect. I should say, it's not a bad tool. But my recommendation is, hold off, get a good, $150, $200 radio, save up for it, do it right. Same way with the software. Try a couple of these out. Try Log4OM. Try the N3FJP and try the N1MM. See what you like. See what fits you. And if you don't like something, feel free to uninstall it and try something new. Don't be afraid to try something new. That's the key here. Ham radio is about trying different things. When we were first starting to talk about the winter field day and what we're planning on, we're going to try Olivia. We're going to try RTTY. We'll try slow scan TV. Let's give it a try. Don't be shy. Let's do it. The more we do, the more we learn, and the better off we are. So, Virgil, are you serious? A '91 Fiesta for a hunting vehicle? That's pretty darn cool. Okay, I will have to admit that's actually a pretty interesting little thing. I've seen people out there hunting in Ford Fiesta, what is it? Oldsmobile. There was I have one friend who had a I want to say it was like a Chevy Caprice or something like that. I can't remember which one it was. But you got to use whatever equipment is available. So, and quite honestly, there's nothing wrong with going hunting in a Ford Fiesta. All right, I'm not going to say that it's wrong to do so. It's just a lot of the other hunters might sit there and go, why are you doing out here? You're not in a pickup truck or a SUV or something. Oh my gosh. That's actually a good story there, Virgil. thanks for posting that, giving me a good laugh tonight. So now let's talk about online logging locations. Obviously, we've talked about quite a few of them. We've name dropped them. Logbook of the World is the ARRL version of online logging. QRZ is another one. I'm not a big fan of QRZ. There's too many people who think that they know everything, and so they're not afraid to say it and tell you you're wrong or something like that. But just like life, just like any other forum out there, you're gonna run across those types of people. QRZ is a wealth of information if you know how to search and look for it. With that being said, I tend to stay away from QRZ just because it gets me heated up and a little bit upset every once in a while. Let's see here. Is that better or worse than moving a 65-foot ham radio tower on a Ford T-Bird? Well, okay, well, there we go. Looks like Vinny's got a question for the group. Please chime in. I will have to say, Vinny, the little Ventana antenna for the VHF UHF, I love it. I'm going to say that I get good reports every time I get on it. I can reach all the way down to Mount Lemmon off of it, but that's for VHF and UHF. Let's see here. Oh, that's funny, Virgil. moving a 65-foot ham radio tower on a Ford T-Bird, moving while vertical. Well, you might not get under the overpasses. You might actually have to take the on ramps and off ramps at every single location and hope that there's no power lines around. But that's a good one, Virgil. Anybody have an answer for Vinny really quick, or any thoughts? I mean, a dipole probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but it might not be very efficient. Is a vertical antenna out of the question, Vinny? See here, and I'm trying to remember what other, the one thing that I want to try to do, because I live in an HOA as well, Vinny, and obviously you know that. Pretty much almost everybody knows that because I'm pretty outspoken about it. I'm not going to say that living in an HOA is the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, come on, this is more of a nuisance than really a help. But there are some times when I like an HOA, and then there's other times when I'm like, okay, come on, we can be a little bit better at this. See here, yeah, magnetic loop actually might not be a bad choice, Vinny. We might actually have to sit down and look at a couple magnetic loops. I wouldn't mind trying one for my backyard as well. I think you kind of have to work QRP on those, or like less than 30 watts, but I'm not 100% sure, and it probably depends on the actual antenna itself. Yeah, the other thing that you could do, you know what, Frank's got a really good recommendation, is maybe a screwdriver antenna. Maybe put some radials down on radial wires, radials down on the rooftop to kind of give you a counterpoise. That might not be a bad idea, Vinny. Might want to think about that one. Of course, we're going to have to look and see what kind of verticals we can do. I liked the ATOS idea. The only issue is I've noticed that Dennis has been having issues with his ATOS antenna. Hold on one second here. I don't know if Dennis's issue is actually the antenna itself. It might be the way he's trying to set it up. Let me get us over to the full camera here. So I don't know. The last couple times that he's done it, he's like tried it off the top of his van and stuff of that nature. So I don't know whether or not it was an issue with the actual antenna, or if it was actually his setup that he was having. Yeah, Virgil brings up a good point. He's hit a few antennas with fake leaves behind roof lines. The other thing is too, I've seen, bird feeder type antennas. Not too sure if that's going to work. Don't know how well those work. But going back to the whole entire thing of what is the best antenna out there, um, almost every single antenna that you're gonna try is going to be a compromise. There's going to be some sort of compromise, either length or band or SWR or wattage or something of that nature. There's always going to be some sort of compromise that you're going to have to make, and it might be multiple compromises. Um, and so again, that's a great point. Thank you, Vinny, for bringing this up. Obviously, um, I think that's a great idea. Um, a quad wouldn't be bad. I've never tried it in a horizontal position, but yeah, that might actually work. So, okay, so online logging locations. Logbook of the World, EQSL, and obviously QRZ. We've kind of name dropped and talked about them throughout the whole entire thing, so I'm not really going to go too much in depth. And then there's the formats. There's the Cabrillo format, and then there's the ADIF format. And the only difference is the ADIF is actually um, a basically a database setup. So if you have to do like Logbook of the World, I believe is ADIF, you end up logging it in using ADIF, and it's just the way everything is queried inside the database itself. Cabrillo is kind of like a text format. It prints it out into almost something that could be opened up in like Notepad or Word or something. I'm not gonna go into the differences of each one, only because each one is going to be different. Some contests are going to say they want the ADIF. Some are going to say they want the Cabrillo. So it's all going to depend on the contests, or it's going to depend on exactly where you're trying to upload it. So, and the last thing that I was going to talk about tonight was, do a little demonstration of the N3 FJP software. Obviously, I've already done that. So, what we can do. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions or anything like that? I want to kind of turn it over and see if you guys have any questions, especially if it's pertaining to any like winter field day or something like that. Feel free to ask away. Let me see if I can find a good let's see if I can find a good stealth. Let me see if this pulls up. All right, hold on one second here. Share without video transition. Okay, so here's one that we might want to talk about. You know what, Vinny? Yeah, I definitely agree. The SQL server is not a bad idea to do, to back up our logs and everything, because sometimes I've been changing computers quite a bit over here. I've gone from a like a Pentium 4 to a I think it was an i3 with like 4 gigs, and that was actually doing fairly well. And then I got a power supply from my brother. Thank you, Corey, for getting me a power supply, which then prompted me to go out and look for a motherboard, processor, RAM, and hard drive, and started into a nice little Christmas present to myself. A nice new computer with an i5 with 16 gigs of RAM here, which I'm quite happy with. So, obviously I could have gone with like an i7 or even an i9 if I really wanted to pony up the money, but for what I do with it, an i5 is perfect. So um, here's a good website that I've found. HF antennas, especially for stealthy mode, um, talks about a dipole antenna, which is something that the club, and we need to get back into it again, building another dipole. I think we'll probably do that on one of our campouts again. I love building antennas, putting them up in the air and using them. We've kind of dropped out of doing that, and I think we probably should start again. Um, the nice thing about a dipole is you can string it up in basically multiple different configurations. Inverted V, straight across, you can just let it slope or whatever. Um, yes, you can do multiband dipoles, which are kind of fun. I think this one right here, the fan dipole, would actually be a very interesting antenna to build one of these days. I don't know if any of you've actually have built one or not. I think the tricky part is getting the spreaders just right. But we might have to build one of these days just to show it off. I know Vinny and I discussed building a slinky antenna one day. Vinny, we're gonna have to find a source for metal slinkies. I would love to build a couple of those, especially since a lot of us have attics that we could probably crawl into and hang. I know you can't, Vinny, but you know, somebody like Frank or myself, we have attics and we can probably crawl up there and actually put an antenna up there. You know, here's a multi-band antenna. This one wouldn't be so bad in an HOA because it just, unless you get really up close to it, it doesn't really look like much. And then you can always do a random length, but yeah, the problem with random length is you're really getting compromised there. Still not bad, especially with the ladder line, which by the way, we still need to build our ladder line. So one of these, we might have to do a build party out at like a pavilion or something like that, Vinny, Chad and Frank, and you know, if Virgil you want to come on out, you're more than welcome to. We were going to try to build our own old-fashioned ladder line using basically wire with wooden slats, wooden spacers in there. I still want to do that project, so we need to put that on our calendar, and build it. See what we could do with it. Obviously verticals, Vinny, we've been discussing verticals. Verticals are pretty nice. It would be nice if we could do a flagpole. Unfortunately, in my neighborhood, I wouldn't be able to put up a tall flagpole. So I might actually be restricted to something like maybe just 10 meters, maybe 12 meters, or you know, maybe 15 meters. But I don't know if I want to go with the expense of actually putting in a flagpole. You know, and then the other issue is you still need to put radials down, which may or may not be a good thing for your yard. So there are, I think this one's an MFJ. I can't remember the number of it now. Oh yeah, there it is. MFJ 1622 apartment antenna. I've never played with it. So I don't know how well it works. Now, the one thing that I do, and I encourage people to do too, especially if you're in an HOA that's very picky on antennas, don't restrict yourself to saying, oh, I need to operate from home. You know, if your HOA is going to be very particular about it, not like, you know, you putting up a dipole and they kind of give you a hard time about it, you know, you might have to actually compromise on your own hobby. And I hate saying that, because you know we live in America, where the land of the free. I should be able to do what I want to do. At the same time, we kind of have to respect our neighbors. You know, the neighborhood that I live in, I really like the neighbors that I have around me. Every single one of them. None of them would have an issue with me putting up an antenna. None of them. I don't know about the people behind me. I don't know them. I've never met them. So that's where my downfall is. I'd have to go up there and talk with them and everything. Um, I just haven't done it. Mostly just because I enjoy going out camping and operating while camping. So to me, I compromise on my hobby, um, and I do it camping. Yeah, Frank, you have no HOA. You're a lucky guy that gets to have, what is it, a 250-foot tower in your backyard, or is it just 80 or 40? I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, you're one of the lucky guys that has no HOA. There are places out there that if you decide to move, you can, and eventually when I'm tired of this place and want to move out of here, I will be definitely looking for a place with no HOA. Um, anyways, one of the best things that you can do for your antenna is get a remote tuner. The way tuners work is it's better at the base of your antenna or up close to where, like on a dipole. Let me scroll back up to a dipole. The best place to put a tuner is right here, right smack dab, right as the two antennas meet. Um, Obviously, when we go out to field day, we can't put our tuners up there. um, because we got to have access to it. We got to press the button and manipulate the dials and so on and so forth. Um, so a lot of times, what you end up doing at home is you put the you put the tuner at the base of your tower, um, and then you send it sends a signal down your coax, and it automatically tunes up and stuff of that nature. The biggest issue is you do have to power them. Um, Most of them actually do get powered over the coax. There are some that require a external power supply, and I've heard a lot of good things about doing it this way. Um, Again, it all depends on your situation. So, and if you look right here, obviously this guy's got it butted up against his, right underneath his rain gutters, out of the view, which is perfect. That's a beautiful setup right there. Um, let's see here. Your rain gutter itself can actually be tuned up if you've got the right one. Plastic rain gutters don't tune so well. Don't know why. They kind of melt and kind of peel away and stuff of that nature. Um, and yeah, I agree there, Vinny. People do abuse antenna privileges with huge commercial setups that are they're unnecessary and eyesore. And I think that's one reason why a lot of HOAs say no to antennas. Um, you know, Me personally, I don't necessarily need a 200-foot tower out in my backyard. Um, would I like one? Yeah, if I had the ability to have one and it worked, and I had a lot of space. But in my neighborhood, there's not a lot of space, so a 200-foot tower is way, way, way extreme. Um, I might go 20 foot. I might put a cobweb antenna up, or a spider. What is it? A spider beam or whatever it is. I like those. uh, yeah, Virgil. It would be nice to have a 500-foot tower. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it would. The downside is I would need probably a good 40 to 80 acres. I would prefer a couple thousand acres with nothing but forest land surrounding me and a private gate to keep people out, but we all could dream, right? um, Geostationary satellite. Vinny, funny thing you say. Funny you mentioned that. There is an AMSAT Phase 4 geostationary satellite that's going to be operational and put up. I don't know specifically when. Right now, they're looking for a ground team. Right now, people who can help test equipment, do some programming, things of that nature. So if you're really into working satellites and you've got some programming and some networking skills, contact AMSAT. I can't remember. I was listening to a podcast on my way home one day, and that's where it was mentioned was the Phase 4. It's geostationary. It's actually a pretty interesting thing there, and I guess they're also trying to put together a Phase 3, which is an elliptical orbit, which obviously it's not going to cover the same area all the time. It's going to go in a little bit of an elliptical. So there's going to be times when you're going to have a long contact because it's going from, one short all the way out to its farthest point, and then back in. And that whole entire time might be, I can't remember what they were saying. I want to say it was something like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, or maybe it was a couple hours or something like that. But they do have a Phase 4 satellite that's going to be going up in the near future. I'm not going to say like next month or in the next 6 months. It might be a couple years out. But that one, what a geostationary satellite does, for those of you who are not familiar with it, think of it as like your DirecTV satellite or your Dish satellite. It basically faces the same part of the planet 24/7, all the time. And it basically, they might drift a little bit, but not very much. And I think that they were going to be doing it all digital, which is going to be really fascinating to think about. It's going to be in the 5 and 10 gigahertz range, and what they're trying to do with it is actually utilize the old, the same dishes that your DirecTV and Dish use. Most of you who live in an HOA where you could choose your TV provider between your cable company, Dish, and DirecTV, and usually DirecTV will come out with a great thing of saying, hey, listen, if you switch over from Dish Network, we'll give you this network for free or whatever. They come out, they remove Dish Network's dish off of your roof and then put up their dish up there. Well, a lot of those dishes, they can be utilized. There was a one just not too long ago in I think it was QST article. It was talking about, let's see here. And Virgil, you might remember this one. It was like a slot antenna. That's what it was. It was like a horizontal slot antenna using a Dish Network little satellite dish, and you had to cut it a specific length and all this other stuff, and you had to change out like the feed horn and stuff of that nature. But a lot of it is easy to do. It's something that a normal ham can actually do. And basically you're taking something that you're no longer using and recycling it for ham radio purposes. Well, that's what they're going to be doing with this geostationary satellite. Is they're trying to get it so that you can reutilize some of those satellite dishes. You'll be able to point it up there at a very specific target and utilize a gigahertz signal. And the way they're trying to do it is they're trying to get it so that there's a couple manufacturers out there that actually have equipment that's going to be less than $1,000 to utilize. I'll have to find the podcast and put it up there. It's a great listen. I liked it. I thought it was a fascinating thing. Virgil, I was wondering about that, how flimsy it is. And I've never seen one built, so I can't really say for sure that it was a great idea or anything. But hey, I think it's kind of interesting that we're trying to reuse and recycle. Again, going back down the environmentally conscious ham radio group, anytime hams can go and reuse something, oh, that old car over there has a whole bunch of wire in there, let's pull it out and reuse it as an antenna or something like that. That's great. Recycle, reuse, I kind of like that idea. Oh wow, he broke the parabolic support and structure. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, I wonder if he used the right one or if he cut it wrong. Uh, that'd be kind of an interesting little write up. But I saw it in a QST magazine, um, and that was one other thing that I contacted the ARRL on, trying to see if we could utilize like the digital version of the QST magazine, and um, they kind of came back with, well, you would have to restrict your podcasts and video podcasts to you know, ARRL members only and stuff of that nature. So um, utilizing a QST magazine in these things, I'll mention them. I'll tell you where to go find them, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to share it just for legal reasons. So rather than get me sued or get the club sued or something like that, I'll just, we just won't do it. um, see here. So, talking about satellites, let me switch over. I'm not a. I'm just now starting to get into learning satellites, so I'm not an expert. I am not going to play one. Well, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express one time, but I'm not going to say that I'm a satellite expert. Um, I could probably play one on TV if I tried and kind of studied up for it, but no, no, no. Anyways, AMSAT is the place to go. You want any information on any of our satellites up there? Oh, look at this. AMSAT Oscar 92 launch was 11 days, 23 hours, and 27 minutes ago. So there we go. We got another satellite up there to play with, contact, and learn. Um, I will have to say that I actually enjoyed using my vertical antenna up on my roof for VHF to actually download those SSTV pictures from the International Space Station. Frank, I don't know if have you heard any word as to whether or not they're going to be doing that again, or I just haven't heard anything. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on it, but that was fun. I enjoyed that. There were late nights, nights of me getting up at 2 a.m. to capture an image. I had fun doing it though. Let's see here. Let's see. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of really good information on here. Let's see here. Fox 1D, that was the Oscar 92. You can get involved with it. Volunteer for AMSAT. Let me see if I can pull that up. AMSAT Phase 4. I believe it's 4 Bravo. It might be 4 Delta. Yeah, I think Phase 4B is Europe's. I want to say it's 4 Delta, but I can't remember. But right now they are looking for ground terminal development. Basically, what the ground terminal people do is they do the programming, they do the hardware, the firmware, and stuff of that nature. And it's all volunteer stuff. These are all volunteers. They don't get paid to do this. Well, there might be people that actually get paid to do other satellites and stuff, but they also volunteer on this. So it's really cool. I recommend coming over here to AMSAT and learning a little bit more about them. Support them. What AMSAT stands for is amateur satellites. But yeah, I think this is a really cool part in the hobby. It's kind of like the new DMR radios, the Fusion radios, D-Star. Each have their own little niche in the whole entire ham radio. Kind of wish the DMR radio and D-Star and all that other stuff would start talking together. But hey, I don't make the rules, so I don't do any of the programming, so it's out of my hands. So I highly encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think, unless, let's see here. Was there any other questions, comments? Any feedback? What do you guys recommend? Do you think that we should just stick with the YouTube and go that direction, or should I go to the trouble of doing basically a live broadcast to Facebook and to our website as well? What do you guys think? Finally, okay. So it looks like Virgil posted up the actual art. The okay. So that article that I was talking about, the slot antenna, um, was in the March 2016 QST magazine, page number 37. Um, I like QST magazine. I haven't subscribed to CQ magazine yet. I think I'm going to go right ahead and do so. Um, at least support them because I've been hearing that they've been having a little bit of financial issues and stuff of that nature. Um, I think I want to kind of do that because I kind of like supporting some of these companies. I mean, obviously they're not really, companies, but I think it's kind of important that we kind of help each other out. That's what the hobby's about, helping each other out. Recycle, reuse, help each other out, be a community. Um, so let's see here. So yeah, so that article was in March 2016 QST on page number 37. So if you want a QST magazine, my recommendation is become a ARRL member. Remember that the ARRL is actually our voice to the FCC. Um, yeah, there's a lot of debate about how great they are and things of that nature, or how awful they are. I don't get into that minutia because here's my thought on this whole entire thing. We need to have one common voice. We need to have one place to go to um, talk to the FCC to push our hobby. And without the ARRL, our hobby would be gone. The FCC would just end up selling our bands to who knows, Verizon, AT&T, or whoever. I mean, they would just be selling it to the highest bidder. The ARRL does a good job, at least in my opinion. That's my 2 cents. um, okay, so Virgil says that the CQ digital delivery is awesome. And I'm paraphrasing there, Virgil. He gets it basically the first of the month, which is really, really cool. QST does the same thing. They have a digital version. I get both. I usually read the digital version when I'm at work. Yeah, don't let my boss hear that. But actually, I don't think he minds because it's educational. Um, so I'll have to look into the CQ digital delivery and look into that. Um, yeah, they've had problems with a print edition, and I think it's partially because printing a magazine this day and age is just it's really expensive, and I get it, you know. Okay, and there you go. So Vinny put up another reason to support the ARRL. They're our voice to the International Amateur Radio Union. So, um, that's another reason. We now have a voice not only national but international as well. So, hey, that's really really cool. And to support them, I don't mind. I know I'm on my pedestal right now, but some of you may be sitting there going, "Oh, daggone it! I don't want to be a member of the ARRL." Some of you are probably saying, "Gosh, dang it! Get off that chair." Anyways, I'll get off of it. I like the QST magazine. It gives me a lot of things to think about. There's 2 radios in the, I want to say, January version, that anybody can build. I'm going to be I'm still debating as to whether or not I want to build that pine board radio that they have in the QST magazine or going with the micro BitX. I'm still debating on it. One's going to probably cost me about $40 to $50, and it's going to be a lot of soldering and putting everything together, whereas the Micro BitX costs like $109. Have to wait around until it's partially built over in India and then shipped over here. Um, and then you have to partially put stuff together, like the microphone and the chassis and the knobs and all this other stuff. So I'm still debating on whether or not I want to do that. There's another radio in there that looked pretty cool too, but obviously these radios are QRP, which means 5, 10, maybe 15 watts. And I really I can't stress this enough. For new hams, try to stay away from QRP for your first couple years. Get enough under your belt to do a regular 100 watts type rig and operation, and get familiar with how to get on the air and everything before you do QRP, because QRP is very finicky. You're going to be calling CQ a lot. You're going to be digging people out of the mud, and by out of the mud, I'm not talking about literal mud. You're going to be it's going to be staticky. It's going to be very, very difficult to get in, and especially if somebody's got a pile up. Let's say if it's a DX station, say out of Lithuania, or the new what is it, Bouvet Island, DXpedition. As a QRP, it's going to be difficult. It's going to try. It's going to be a lot of sitting there, taking your time, being patient with it. So, Virgil says life is too short for QRP. I would like to do QRP just because I'm a backpacker. I'm a hiker. I wouldn't mind trying it. I've tried it a couple times, and I've made a couple contacts with Dennis's I think 817, but it gets trying. It's something that if you don't have the patience for it, you're going to get frustrated with it. So for a new ham, I say stay away from it until you get your feet wet. So so any other feedback, any other suggestions? It looks like everybody kind of likes the YouTube idea. And like Vinny said, YouTube works on phone, Linux, TV, and it's also being recorded too. So this whole entire thing, I don't know if the chat actually shows up, but as I'm reading these chats, obviously it's going to be in the video. So I think that kind of settles it. I think what we're going to have to do is, I think we're going to do... and we might do Facebook and YouTube and see for the first couple times. Just for a reminder, our next meeting, which is in February, let's see here if it actually, February 27th, is an actual physical meeting with one caveat. We are going to be streaming Facebook Live. Or maybe we'll go YouTube. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can get my OBS software to run on my laptop. It should. But maybe what we'll do is we'll do another live feed from our meeting. We're going to do a physical meeting at the Mesa Utilities building. The plan is... let me do a screen share with video here. Transition. All right. So, February 27th. From 1830 to 2030. Winter Field Day wrap-up. We're going to go over how we did, what we did. I might actually do a live YouTube again one of these weekends to go over any of the stuff. We'll go over our meeting structure, our club structure again. I hate beating a dead horse, but sometimes the horse deserves to be beaten again and again and again. I'll try to find another good topic. If there's any other suggestions as to topics to teach, if anybody wants to actually stand up and teach in front of everybody, let me know. You know, I mean, if you want to stand up there and teach us how to juggle, I'm probably going to have to say no on that. But if you want to stand up there and teach us how to build a dipole antenna, okay, that sounds cool. Um, or the running joke with Vinny and myself from one of our old club meetings long time ago in a galaxy far, far, far away. We're not going to even mention the club's name. We had a meeting on the automotive black box. And I think that evening we had probably like, I think 15 or I think it was about 15. It might have been like 10 new hams. And most of them got up and walked out. So, yeah, we're gonna stick to ham radio topics. I don't want to go off topic. So, if you guys have a topic that you want to discuss and would like to teach, please let me know, and we'll do it. I'll fit you in. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go right ahead and close out. Is there any other questions or comments or anything like that? I kind of need to get to bed myself because I got to get up early tomorrow morning. So, luckily for me, I don't have to drive home. I'm already here. As you can tell, this is where I live. Well, wish. I could actually have my 500-foot tower in a place like this, and nobody would complain. So, if that's it, I'm gonna go right ahead and basically call it a night right now, and I'll let you guys all get to bed or do whatever you need to do. Thank you for all showing up. Thank you for being out there. The one cool thing about the YouTube video, don't forget you can share it. Okay, so if you know anybody who might have missed the meeting and would like to see it, go right ahead and share it. If you know of anybody that's a new ham or something like that that might actually be interested in doing the club or joining the club, you know, obviously we're free, no cost club. So if you have a problem paying our dues of free, let me know and I'll pay your free dues. It's just how generous I am. So I'm going to say 73 to everybody. Hope you guys all have a good evening. Talk to you guys later. If there's any comments or anything like that, just keep filling it up. You know, shoot me an email. Thank you guys. 73. Hope you all have a good evening. From Kilo Echo 7 Victor Lima Charlie, representing Whiskey Mike 7 Romeo Charlie. I'm going to say 73. Good evening, guys.